Hi everybody, this is John back with another model inbox review. Today we've got rather a special kit because it's quite rare, quite difficult to come across, but I always fancied having a go at one to see what they were all about. But what you're looking at in front of you is the Deutsche Kriegsmarines battleship Tirpitz, the sister ship to Bismarck from World War II. And she's in her guise as she probably would have been throughout most of her Norwegian fraud mooring. Um, that's what she was doing a lot of the time, being moored up in her career as a moored battleship in Norwegian frauds. Anyway, which kit are we doing? Well, we are doing the Tirpitz, but the life of the Tirpitz started off with this kit. This is the Nichimo 30cm series DKM or SMS Bismarck. This is actually the same kit that is in the Tirpitz box, but with Tirpitz instructions. But everything else about the kit is identical. They were a 1974 release, and they were 880th scale, but they were all classed as 30cm long vessels. They did quite a number of other vessels, which tended to be slightly larger scale or slightly smaller scale, depending on the ship in the box, but they were all designed to be 30 centimeters or 12 inches long. Anyway, that's the Bismarck 1974 release. Again, in the same year, 1974, we've got the SMS Tirpitz, which is the subject of the kit that I've got. And they're an interesting one, as we'll have a look in the parts and you'll see exactly what I mean. They were re-released in the mid-2000s, and most of the images that are available on ScaleMates of these kits tend to be an image like this, where it's just an image of all the ships in the 30cm series. The Bismarck is this one here, and the Tirpitz is this one here. They also did a number of other vessels, as you can see. Interesting, yeah. They were released, I think, around about 2004, 2005. And I'm not sure whether you can still get them in the model shops in the Far East, but I haven't seen any in model shops in Europe for a very, very, very long time. Anyway, a nice image here of the Tirpitz with her guns raised. Gives you an idea of what she would have looked like in World War II. Nice image. Anyway, we'll take you down to the box. Let's have a look at this kit. This Nichimo 880th scale DKM Tirpitz. So, what's special about this kit? Well, the box, it's not a fantastic image on the front. It is artwork, but it's not fantastic. There's another ship in the background now. I don't know what ship that is. Probably some sort of cruiser, or maybe one of the pocket battleships, I'm not sure. And then you get to the side of the box and it gives you an idea of why this kit is different. Yes, it's motorized. So really it's a model that is really a toy. Tirpitz had 3 screws, although this kit only has 1, but the propeller will turn round. Side images, they're just showing you the FA130, which is the serial number of this kit. Interesting. Series number 6 in the box. There's some of the other kits available in this series. There's the Bismarck, Nagato, JMS Mutus, and the Yamato. So let's have a look, see what we get in the box. Now, when I got this kit, it was second hand. They can go for a lot of money, but I got this one second hand because it's actually been started, but it's not been started in a massive way. All they've done is painted the deck, and they haven't done a terrible job of it. We'll just have to clean up these gun positions, and you'll see straight away there's an issue with this kit. There's only 5 secondary guns, isn't there? That's because this gaping hole here is for the throw switch for the electric motor to tell the propeller to rotate or stop. So you've only got 5 secondary guns. which is interesting. But let's have a look at the instruction leaflet. Let's have a look. It's quite a large instruction leaflet. It's a little bit short on A3, but it's not far short. And the first thing they'll tell you to do is put the motor assembly together with the motor deck there. It's a bit like the engine room, isn't it? And then you glue that. That's what it should look like with the battery in place. There's your truck switch, which goes in place of one of the secondary 5.9 inch guns, and then that all goes in place into the lower the lower hull, which you'll see in a minute. And then you put the grease and sealing box over the top. Then you put the deck in place for two of the major guns, 15-inch guns on the Tirpitz. Yeah, deck goes down in place. Some of the information on here to tell you what to do is very interesting. You've got forward superstructure and the stack, and rear mast. Oh, that's better. Forward superstructure, the stack and the rear mast. And then you go into assembling all this stuff on the major deck. Superstructure deck there. And then that's what it looks like when she's finished. And then you put the battery in place and you just tack the superstructure and fittings onto the top of the deck so that you can remove them to replace the battery if you need to. So the instructions are quite interesting. They're not that complicated to follow. They look all right. It has got a working rudder, as you can see there. Where is it? There it is, working rudder. Propeller shaft goes in through there. Yeah, it's not that difficult to understand. And then you've got this Americanized English language, switch lever, assembly of the engine section, throw down switch lever, forward and mixed metallic connector, bend the claws, the terminal. All these are American ideology on the English language. And then when the kit instruction leaflet gets quite complicated, all the instructions are written in Japanese. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Your ID and all the parts in Japanese. Lovely. Anyway, that's the instruction leaflet done. You've had a look at the deck, but I'll give you an idea of what's on the deck. The forecastle's quite nice. The shape of this hull looks pretty good, actually. A lot of companies made mistakes with the shape of the deck. Airfix, I'm looking at you here. The Airfix kit looks nothing like this, but this is pretty much what the Bismarck looked like and the Tirpitz looked like from above. So what I'll probably have to do there is clean down some of these gun fitting surfaces and then touch in all this deck detail. I think that will come up alright. That should be alright. So that's the hull. Here's the hull below the waterline, which is red. Does that save you painting it? Probably. One piece, everything fits into the base of that, so that's quite nice. There's the mechanics and the engine bag with all the components inside it. Yeah, that looks alright. And then you've got quite a lot of parts on a single sprue here, which is interesting. You've got the main deck. Quite a lot of small parts, the little anti-aircraft guns, more anti-aircraft guns, the launches, searchlights, mast assemblies and cranes. There's the stack and the various little platforms, 4 15-inch gun mounts, and then you've got the issue I have with this kit, only 5 secondary guns. There should have been 6 on this ship. I think the main guns will turn and rotate, which is nice, and she has a proper stack there. Various other bits and bobs. The parts look quite nicely cast. I don't know what sort of reputation Nichimo had, but parts don't look too bad to me. But this is not an accurate model. This is a toy. People should remember that. Even if you wanted to just build it as a static kit, it's never going to be accurate because it's only got 5 secondary guns. So anyway, that's the parts and everything. They look all right, don't they? Be interesting to see what this thing's like when it gets built. Anyway, we'll just go through the gump. There's not an awful lot of gump here to read off, and I'll be as quick as I can. The kit is the Nichimo SMS Tirpitz. She's built in 1/830th scale with a release date of 1974. The serial number is U306, and she's number 6 in the 30cm ship series. There are 8 electric parts in a motor bag, 1 red plastic hull, 1 grey plastic deck, and 95 parts on 1 dark grey plastic sprue, making 105 parts in total. The ship's dimensions will be 12 inches long by 1.75 inches wide by 3 inches high, and the options and costs are only in 1/850th to 1/500th scale, and there aren't that many. Anyway, the 850th scale ship from Nichimo is available for anything between 15, but you'll probably more likely have to pay about 40 to 45 quid for it. 1/800th scale Academy do a Tirpitz for £9 to £30, and mini hobby models do another Tirpitz for about, no details available for that one. Academy Minicraft do a Tirpitz for £9 to £25. I think that's an Academy Reeboks. Alanga do a 1/700th scale Tirpitz for no prices available for that one, but I think that's based on the Revell kit. AS Shimmer do a Tirpitz for £15 to £58. Dragon do a Tirpitz for £32 to £68. Flyhawk do a Tirpitz for £45 to £55. HP Models do a Tirpitz for £40 to £60. ROP of Samak do a Tirpitz for £15 to £25. Revell do a Tirpitz for £15 to £25. And Trumpeter do a Tirpitz for £11 to £35. Now at Talieri, they do a Reeboks Dragon kit for £30 to £35. Platts do a Reeboks Trumpeter kit for £10 to £30. And Platts also do a Reeboks Dragon kit for £30 to £35. It wasn't Platts earlier, it was Pit Road, sorry. 1/618th scale Monogram do a DKM Tirpitz for about £15 to £50. In 1/600 scale you've got that rather interesting Airfix kit of the Tirpitz, which is 25 to 45 quid. In 1/570th scale Revell did a Tirpitz for £10 to £65. And these were covered by Revell CG for £10 to £50. They're all £10 to £50. Revell Concost, Revell Kiko, Revell Kikoler, and Revell Lodella, all Reeboks Revell kits for 10 to 50 quid. In 1/500th scale, Tamiya did a Tirpitz, which is a multimedia kit predominantly made of wood, and it's quite old. I think it was released in 1958, I believe. And that kit retails for anything between 50 and 150 quid, if you can find one. Conclusions. The 30cm ship range are not really models, but they're toys made from models, and as such, they don't really take their accuracy that seriously. The rendition of Tirpitz has only 5 secondary 5.9-inch gun turrets instead of 6 to allow the switch for the electric motor to be installed. The instructions are typical of Japanese instructions of the 1970s, with a mixture of US and UK language, and then small features placement methods. They're explained in Japanese. Sounds great, eh? That said, they are a bit of a rare commodity nowadays, and not a kit I would recommend if you want something that's accurate. I wanted to see what was in the box of a Nichimo kit in 1/830th scale, so let's see what the verdict is after the build is finished. I hope this video inbox review is of some use. If you have any questions, queries, just put them in the comment and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.